In this video, I'll share 5 garlic planting mistakes that you should avoid in your garden. Now, when it comes to growing your own vegetables, garlic is one of the easiest crops to grow. That's why we plant it every single year and disperse it throughout our garden as a great companion plant as well. But there are a few mistakes you can make that might cause the plants to suffer and ultimately lead to a lower yield. Before I get into the first mistake, we do have a video all about how to grow garlic from clove all the way to bulb. So if you're interested in a growing guide, I'll leave a link to that video down below. So the first garlic planting mistake is growing the wrong type of garlic for your climate. There are 2 main types of garlic, hardneck and softneck. We live in New England in gardening zone 6B, which is a pretty cold climate. We have cold winters with lots of freezing and thawing. And if you also live in one of these cold climates, I highly suggest planting hardneck garlic. If you live in a warmer climate, softneck varieties might be a better choice because hardneck varieties require those freezing and thawing cycles in preparation for growth in the spring. If you're somewhere in between and you get some cold weather, but it doesn't freeze too often, then I'd suggest trying both. Do some hardneck, some softneck, and see which you prefer. The next garlic planting mistake is around the idea of breaking down your bulbs. I have a beautiful bulb here that we grew just this last summer, and it's been in storage this way for about 3 months now. Now, after curing your garlic, you may be tempted to actually break down all of the individual cloves and store them that way, but that would be a big mistake because this may cause the root nodule area of each clove to dry out, which may reduce its viability. So always wait to break down your bulbs until you're about to plant. Ideally, right before planting, you'll break down the cloves and pop them right in the ground. If you want to do it beforehand for some reason, you can do it up to a day in advance, but nothing more than that. I really recommend leaving them whole until you're ready to plant. Another quick tip on this subject, when you do break them down, there's no need to remove the papery shell outside of each clove. You can leave that on. That can actually help the plants retain a little bit more moisture and be more resistant to drought until it's time to grow. The next garlic planting mistake is planting store-bought garlic cloves. The main reason not to do this is that store-bought garlic is often treated with a growth inhibitor, which can prevent them from sprouting. Instead, I highly suggest getting some seed garlic from a reputable supplier. We got our original seed garlic from Fillory Farm. I'll leave a link to their website down below. They have lots of great garlic varieties to choose from. But you don't have to do this every year. You can buy enough seed garlic early on so that you can save cloves to replant from your own garden, saving you a lot of money on seed garlic and buying garlic from the store going forward. Once you find a variety that you really like, stick with it. Garlic tends to adapt really well over time, so as you save your own cloves and replant them for years and years, the plants will actually adapt to your region and your soil and get better over time. The next garlic planting mistake is a really important one, and that is to avoid planting your garlic where you've recently planted other alliums like onions or chives or even garlic. This is especially important if you've had disease or pest issues that are specific to alliums. Some of the most common ones you might run into are white rot, downy mildew, or onion maggots. So instead of planting your garlic in the same spot every single year, it's a better idea to rotate it through your garden and swap out other crop families with your alliums to avoid any disease or pest issues getting out of control. I've got one more garlic planting mistake to avoid, but before I get into it, a couple of quick tips when you're planting your garlic. The first is to not worry too much about planting your garlic cloves the right side up. Yes, there is a proper way to do it, but if you're not sure, you can just lay it on its side and the plant will figure it out. The next is to not worry too much about when you plant your garlic. There is a proper time to do it. Yes, it's right around your first fall frost date, but this really varies based on where you're located, so I recommend planting hardneck varieties between Halloween and Christmas. And for softneck varieties, you can plant them in the fall or in the early spring so that they're ready to harvest in the summer. And my last quick tip is to choose the largest possible garlic cloves for planting. The reason for this is larger cloves lead to larger bulbs. It's always better to invest in the future and save the smaller cloves for the kitchen because the larger cloves are going to give you more garlic in the long run. Now on to my final garlic planting mistake to avoid, and that is not planting enough of it for your needs. I highly recommend thinking about how much garlic you actually use and then calculating how much garlic to plant in your garden so that you have enough all year. It's easy to underestimate how much garlic you'll actually need throughout the season. So as an example, say you use about a bulb of garlic every single week, you'll need 52 plants to provide enough for your year. Plus you'll need enough to save for replanting, so that comes out to around 60 garlic plants, which may sound like a lot, but in reality, 60 plants only takes up around 10 square feet of garden space, which really isn't too much. Now it's time for me to plant these garlic cloves, so if you want to learn all about how we grow garlic from clove to bulb, I'll leave a link to our video down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.